Hello. So today is going to be maybe a little bit of an interesting one. This game just gets really out of hand really fast, but this is going to be a ghostly reroll game. Ghostly, it kind of comes in and out of the meta, I find. I think going for straight ghostly reroll, so when I'm talking ghostly reroll, I mean SENNA Shen reroll. It kind of comes back and forth. Usually with ghostly reroll now, just because of some of the nerfs that they did, you really need like an enabler augment. This is a reroll in its finest in the sense that you are rerolling everything. Basically, the idea behind it is basically just going to reroll all the low-cost ghostly units because they're all basically frontline units, and then they're going to be super tanky. You get a bunch of ghostly stacks. The way ghostly works is if your opponent attacks you 7 times, or if you attack 7 times, it makes a little blue little specter, and these specters basically go around the unit, and it makes them take increased damage. It's a really cool trait. It's actually one of my favorite traits from the start of this set. This was like the one that I was most interested in as a trait. This and porcelain. But the problem with ghostly is that like there's not really like a good ghostly carry. Like Morgana and Kayn don't work well in the ghostly board, particularly. So that's why you end up rerolling with a Senna. And Senna recently got buffed to a point now where the build on Senna is less like attack speed, and now you're just doing like a full damage Senna kind of build. But anyways, if we look at my starting spot, I basically just have some bruisers in. I chose to sit on prismatic party, so that means all the augments are going to be prismatic. I don't find prismatic party to be that big of an issue. You just have to make sure that you balance like what you need, right? If you want an econ, you take econ. If you don't want econ, you go for usually combat. You need at least one of the prismatic combats to make sure that your board is really strong, right? Here I'm starting, I have a Caitlyn. I said, maybe I should hold some ghostly units. Who knows? What if I end up playing towards ghostly? I'm obviously holding Story Weaver because if I can play vertical Story Weaver, that's pretty good. I'm holding bruisers because I feel comfortable playing around a bruiser +1, so I wouldn't mind a bruiser +1. So I get bruiser crown, so I'm like, I can take bruiser crown, right? This is what I was kind of aiming towards, right? I put bruisers in, and I was thinking to myself, I can probably play around bruiser. It gives an Aatrox, so I have Aatrox, Pure Riven Prayer, and a Bloodthirster. I can play maybe some sort of line like that. I look here, and I see that somebody's starter kit Galio, which means it might be really hard for me to hit a Galio. They're basically guaranteed a bunch of Galio. Somebody else is holding an Aatrox. I see Prismatic Ticket. I've been saying that rerolls are very strong this particular patch, and I haven't been playing a lot of rerolls, so I kind of look at this and I'm like, you know what, like let's just play like ghostly reroll, right? I have one, like, even though I don't have like unit pairs, I have one copy of Aatrox, one copy of Shen. Prismatic Ticket, I should be able to hit everything. I can play for a top 4, right? It might not be a firstable game unless I start to high roll, but I'm down to play it just to try it out because I haven't played it in a really long time. If you haven't seen the board basically looks something like this. I'll start with let's go like this. Also, make sure to like and subscribe if you like my content. We now have members. I will talk about our sub goal giveaway, probably not today. As soon as I feel a little bit better. It's just really hot in my room because heat wave and stuff IRL, but I'll talk about the giveaway very soon, and then you guys can all enjoy that. Anyways, ooh, wait, there's an encounter. Maybe we should look at the encounter. What was the encounter? Oh, Loon permanently helps 2 costs. This is great for me. Anyways, let's go team builder, and basically the board that you're playing is something like this. There's different types of ghostly reroll boards, right? The main one that you play typically is this one. Where is it? And then you have Jax, and then you have Senna. Where's Senna? Right, this is the typical board, and basically just playing vertical ghostly with the 3 Inkshadow, which gives an Inkshadow item. With the Inkshadow item, Senna is really good with Tattoo. I think Tattoo of Fury is her best item, and then Bombardment is like a second best. So this line is very good if you see a Tattoo of Fury, because basically you can just put it on Senna as one of her items, which lets your item economy do really well. And this comp is a stall comp, right? The idea is that you want to 3-star pretty much everybody, but it's really efficient at rolling for 2 costs. And it's really good with like stuff like 2 healthy because of that. But basically, you want Shen as your main tank, and you're trying to stack like giga tank items on him, like lots of gargoyle stone plates, stuff like that. And the idea is that these guys live long enough to get a bunch of ghostly procs, because like having ghostly damaging units doesn't get as many ghostly stacks. If you read the ghostly trait, it's like, oh, it's 5 times now. Sorry, I thought it was 7. Upon dealing or taking damage 5 times, ghostly units send 2 specters, and that basically lets them take increased damage, right? And then to cap out this board, you basically just put in Morgana and Kayn as you when you level up. These ones don't really matter. It's just to get like 6 ghostly, so they take more damage basically, right? And that's like the main idea. You're basically trying to stall out long enough for your ghostly frontline units to proc a bunch of specters, because basically, like, imagine if you have a Shen in your front line and your opponent has like 3 or 4 units on their board, right? He only has to take damage 5 times. So basically, like, if the whole board is targeting the Shen or the whole board is targeting your front line, they're gonna proc those ghostly stacks a lot more than if you like tried to play around like Kane. So the front line matters so much more. You're just stalling, and then Senna does increased damage with all the ghostly stacks, and she kind of goes nuts, right? And if we go on let's just go stats. I'll show you what I mean. So let's say I go like Senna 3-star, you'll see that its average is like a 3 point whatever. And if I put Shen 3-star, you'll see that it averages like around a 4, right? It's a very like, it's not like a high cap comp. In certain situations you have really good matchups. If the opponent is like Story Weaver, for example, where they have Irelia and Kale that do a bunch of auto attacks that proc ghostly a bunch of times, then it's usually a favorable matchup. Sometimes snipers, if they don't have enough damage to kill your frontline units, they'll just like Gwinsu stack up, Bard especially, Gwinsu stack up and like get a bunch of specters, and those can turn into really good matchups, right? If you look at best Senna items, like a lot of people put Gwinsu on Senna. That's like an old mentality. It's actually not that good, right? If I go specifically on Senna with unit builds, you'll see that her best item, I think, is if I'm not mistaken, it should be Tattoo of Fury. Yeah, it's usually IE Tattoo of Fury, right? A lot of these are like high roll, they have radiant items, but usually it's Tattoo of Fury, Last Whisper for Shred, and Infinity Edge. And then sometimes you make Deathblade. I've seen Deathblade in place of some units. See, I did this build this game, which we'll see later. But usually you just play something like Tattoo of Fury is like her best item, and then the other one's like Bombardment. So if you have a Tattoo of Fury with your Inkshadow item, it's a really good it's really good to play around it in a lot of cases. The other things that are really good with Inkshadow is like some of the more tank ones are a little bit fixed now. So like if you have a frontline one, it can also help out to itemize your Shen, right? It just works really well because you want to itemize a lot of units in the board. If we look at my board with Prismatic Ticket, I'm pretty low econ, right? I'm not even making 20 yet, and it's after neutrals. But the thing is, as I'm getting a lot of upgrades, right? I already have Senna upgrade. I have a Shen on bench. I should sell this Thresh to make econ here. Yep, there we go, and I make 20. Okay, so we're not in that bad of a spot. We're making 20. We'll talk about how to cap out the board later. In this game, I actually don't go 6 Ghostly. I go 7 Inkshadow because of a later augment that I'm gonna get. We'll talk about it later, so stay tuned. I don't want to just overload the front of this video because it's something that's only gonna happen a bit later, and I can show you like that pivot as well. So if that's not something you've seen before with this Ghostly board, make sure to stay tuned because that will come up like when I get that augment, right? I think my best choice at the time is like an Inkshadow +1. That's gonna happen later in the video. Not to be super spoiler if you're watching this for just like a fun casual experience, but I just want to make people know that it's not going to be your run-of-the-mill kind of game. There's also going to be all sorts of crazy shit that happens because of encounters, and I hate it, but it is what it is, and we'll just go through it. But like I said, it's right before Krugs. I'm still only making 20. I just keep finding Sennas and Shens, which is good, right? That's the whole point of Prismatic Ticket. It's good to like hit early, but it makes it so that I'm in a little bit of a bad econ spot, which is a little bit scary sometimes, right? Like I'm level 4, 20 gold basically, right? You really want to make it to level 6, increase those shop odds for the 2 costs so that you make sure that you hit the 2 costs on time, and do that, do it that way, right? But as you can see, I even hit an Alawi, right? My board's going to be complete. I'm going to have this dude as well. If we look at my first Inkshadow item, I believe my first Inkshadow item in this game was a Tattoo of Protection, which is okay. They buffed it, they fixed it, so it doesn't like, it's not bugged anymore, or at least I think it's not bugged anymore. I didn't properly check it this game, but it's a frontline item nonetheless. If you look at my item slams, my item drops were not that great. Redemption is okay on Shen. I think the best item on Shen is Gargoyle, and then also Protector's Vow, right? The reason is both of these items work by like if multiple units are attacking you, gain more resistances. So specifically in this build or this comp, they work really nicely on Shen because you want him to like be like almost like a solo frontline, Because if the more units that are attacking him at the same time, the faster the ghostly procs, the more the ghostly stacks up on the enemy. They take a bunch of damage, right? Senna hopefully kills off some of the units, right? She just like kills off a few of them, and when she kills off a few of them, all the stacks get stuck on one unit, and then they just get one shot, right? That's what you're doing. You're trying to stall until there's like a blue circle around the enemies. So here I'm looking at my items. They're not particularly amazing, right? I'm not sure what to slam. Putting utility on Shen is also sometimes okay, right? If you put like Sunfire Cape in the stats, it seems like it's okay on Shen occasionally. So I am down to put Sunfire Cape on Shen, but I'm gonna wait a turn. I think I beat this guy anyways because I'm 4 Ghostly, 3 Inkshadow. I got an Inkshadow item. I feel pretty strong. So I'm just taking my chances here. That's why I'm not slamming an item. I'd rather just try and greed. Maybe my augment, I get like extra items and I can itemize the Shen a bit better, right? That's the idea. But it's not necessarily, especially with a comp like this. A comp like this is a very win early comp, right? I spiked a lot harder than other people, especially with Prismatic Ticket. I have a bunch of upgrades. I'm playing reroll. And now we hit Tiny But Deadly, right? Tiny But Deadly, everybody attacks faster and moves faster. Now, I know there is Ghostly Crown, but Ghostly Crown doesn't do that much. 2 for 1. This is what I mean, right? 2 for 1 typically is really good. I'm going to pause the video just for a second, right? Pandora's items might fix my items, right? It gives me a Radiant item, but it doesn't go with the idea of the comp. The idea of the comp is not that I want to wait for my items to get better on bench, is that I want to be really strong early, and I want to absolutely rail everybody in this stage and next stage so that I have a lot of HP to work with, and then I can try and cap out my board by going level 9 and putting in some crazy shit, right? Like an Udyr or something. 2 for 1. It will help me get stronger right now, and with Prismatic Ticket, but I already have Prismatic Ticket, so taking this, I'll just be too far behind in the lobby. Even with Pandora's, right? Everybody's getting Prismatic Augments, and some people have Prismatic Combats. That's why Prismatic Combat is really important. That's why I like Prismatic Party, right? Because as long as you, like, understand, like, you know, any combat, that's what I'm looking for. Any combat from now on. I don't need another Econ trait. I don't need another rolling trait, right? I have an Augment that does that. So I just take Tiny But Deadly. It's the best. It's actually the best for Ghostly, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, if we look at the stats. Try my best here. Yeah, here we go. If I go Explorer and I go Shen 3-star, Senna 3-star, and I go Augments and I go Placement. Pumping up is like Tiny But Deadly, but on a budget. Oh, Freaky Friday says it's good. Inkshadow is also really good, but that's for a separate reason I'll talk after. And then Tiny But Deadly is like the only like new recruit, obviously, with rerolls and just really good in general. But Tiny But Deadly, it scores around the same, right? The idea is that it's basically like, it's like budget pumping up, right? You basically just get a bunch of attack speed off rip instead of having to wait for it to scale. But obviously, if you can play around having pumping up early, into this line would obviously be a bit better. But if you look at the Prismatics, that's where it works best. The Wandering Trainers and this stuff, it's because this board cap's really high with an Inkshadow emblem, as well as like having multiple Ghostly emblems, because if you get 8 Ghostly, you kind of just win the game, right? But usually it's only good if you get like the Trainer, because I think the Trainer stats are inflated, just because if you get like a really good Trainer emblem that supports the comp, like imagine if you get a Trainer emblem that's like a Ghostly and an Inkshadow emblem, then a lot of people will play towards this line, right? So the stats are going to be inherently biased towards people that are in a good spot for it. Like if you take Wandering Trainer, it's not like you take Wandering Trainer and you play it with any spats. It's like you got a +1 that specifically helps out this particular comp, right? But as you can see, I'm very broke, right? I'm still only 20 gold level 6. It's because I'm hitting a lot of the units, right? I have upgrade here, I have a Lowy, upgrade. I have 6 Sennas, 6 Sennas. Sorry, the comp's called Senna. It fucks with my brain. It's all fine. I have a lot of Sennas, so I'm in a good spot. I don't have Senna items, but I'm hoping to make those eventually. But basically, I want this to be a Last Whisper, this to be an IE or a Deathblade. I think IE is better, so I'm curious to see on Carousel if I had the option of getting an IE, because I think the first item I make is Deathblade. But as you can see, this is what I was expecting. I should be very strong for this stage. I have a lot of upgrades, people that might be scaling or taking augments to help their econ out or combat in general. Like I should be in a good spot, right? I have my Prismatic Ticket, which helped my board get really strong for stage 2 and stage 3. It set me up really well for the game. And then I have Tiny But Deadly, which is a really good combat, which will set me up for the next point in the game, right? Which is stage 3, right? I'm keeping up with the top lobby in terms of having a combat in addition to my econ augment, right? Yeah, so sword is on a 1 cost, which is nice, but glove I think is gonna get taken, so I won't be able to make IE. I think Deathblade is okay on Senna. It's not the greatest, but I need to kill this. I need to like make an item, right? I have too many items on my bench. I could have taken Alawi, right? Was there a cloak there? I think cloak might have been better, maybe. Yeah, but there was no cloak for me either, right? This guy took cloak. If I could have made a gargoyle, I would have put gargoyle instead of Tattoo of Protection here, right? If there was a tier, maybe I could have made Protector's Vow for Shen, but that's a little bit less good, I don't think. So here I just decide that I'm just gonna make what's it called? Deathblade. Deathblade on Senna isn't that bad if I'm not mistaken. Usually before you used to make Guinsoo, I think now it's fine to just make anything that's good. Yeah, it's minus delta, right? It's almost as good as Deathblade is almost as good as IE in the stats. I'm just not sure the exact correct like full item build. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's like Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, Deathblade if you don't have a good item on her, or if you prior Infinity Edge first. Like Deathblade's only good with Infinity Edge. It's too much to like look in the stats for because I don't have like enough filters. But basically we're not in that bad of a spot. This guy absolutely is railing me. I don't even know how. I think he just has way too much damage. His cane just killed everything, and I did not stack at all. And his board doesn't even look that insane. But this cane just went infinite, and I don't know what. So I just die. I just lose a life here. My bad. It's all good. And then I'm rolling whenever my prismatic ticket has 0. Obviously, I'm going to roll. I'm going to gather up units. But the goal is, when you're taking prismatic ticket isn't good unless you're 3-starring multiple units. You really have to get value out of it. So for me at least, I am trying to get everybody upgraded, right? I'm trying to get my whole front line 3-starred if possible, and Senna 3-starred, and then I should be in an okay spot to guarantee a top 4, right? The risk with reroll is something like this, right? I have been rolling a lot. I've been holding a lot of units. As you can see, I have a lot of Sennas. I have very few Shens, and Shen's almost as important as Senna in this comp, right? Now, I think the stats are better if you have a Senna 3 and a Shen 2 than vice versa. Like, I think the Senna damage is way more important. Also, she just gets fucking one-shot by this guy, which is so fucking tilting. Anyways, it's fine. It's Radiant Guinsoo, this Caitlyn, and she just killed, like, I think I would have won this if I positioned a little bit better. But I didn't expect the Caitlyn to just like perfectly hit my Senna. Like, look how many units are in front of this Caitlyn. Like, look at this. Look how many units are alive. She fucking threads the needle. Like, I'm pretty sure like she hits the first unit that she hits. It doesn't like actually go through units. I literally got railed. Which is just unfortunate, like between her and the Aphelios. And as you can see, like the Shen almost comes back from this. If I had a little bit better Shen items, I would have won, right? But that's the idea with Ghostly. You get enough stacks on the units that eventually you just kill them off, right? So I don't know what the hell happened there, right? But you know, it is what it is. We'll take it. I'm rolling a little bit now. I really want to hit a 3-star before the next at the start of the next stage, right? In order to keep on tempo, usually stage like 4-1/4-2, you need to have at least 1 3-star. That's a little bit high roll, obviously, but I am prismatic ticket and it's a prismatic lobby. So if I don't have Senna 3 at the start of the next stage, I think I'll be in a really bad spot, right? So I am really close to 1 3-star. Ideally, you have everybody 3-star. You have both Senna and Shen 3-starred by this point, but I haven't been finding many Shens. So I'm definitely going to roll here. I'm going to roll until I hit Senna 3, and then I can decide if I'm going to roll a little bit more. I'm contemplating if I level or not, right? The problem is, like, I can make Protector's Vow. That's okay on Shen. So I'm just going to put Protector's Vow on Shen because I'm sus about this item. I don't know how bug fixed it is. It used to be really broken, and then they nerfed it out, and then it was bugged. I don't know if it's broken on Shen. In the stats, it doesn't say that it's particularly broken on Shen. So I know Protector's Vow is a good item, and I don't really have any other like really good like armor MR tank items. So I decide to just, in lieu of making Protector's Vow and making items, I'll just hold on to the bow. I'll put the Protector's Vow on the Shen, and we'll just rock it like that, right? I think that's a better itemization. I'm really scared about my Shen survivability without armor and MR, so I wanted to make sure that I gave him some armor and MR. But yeah, we're in a good spot just because we have Tiny but Deadly and Senna 3. So now we're looking for anything that spikes our board. We want to keep tempo, right? We're a little bit behind tempo. Ideally, you want to be a little bit higher HP. New Recruit's really good. It gives a duplicator. Inkshadow +1 I think is better though. Now it gives an even shroud, which is nice because I don't have armor shred right now. Overwhelming force is definitely not it. Even though it gives me the Senna item, I don't really care. Inkshadow item, I think, do I check what my Inkshadow items are? I'm pretty sure I know that I get a Tattoo of Fury with 5 Inkshadow. So this actually makes me strong immediately because basically all I have to do is find 1 Inkshadow unit and I'll play towards 7 Inkshadow. But this turn I'll be 5 Inkshadow, right? So I'll drop this and I'll put it on somebody. Now, this happened like a little bit turn too early, but I think Inkshadow +1 is one of Shen's best items. But anyways, look here. So now I get a Tattoo of Fury, which I can put on the Senna, which is her best item. So taking Inkshadow +1, it worked out, not because it's just Inkshadow +1. It synergized with my team really well. I'm missing a Senna item. Now I only need 1 extra Senna item. It gave me another tank item, no matter how bad it is or whatever. So it immediately made me strong this turn, right? I just had to push level to 7. I'm 5 Inkshadow. I'm in a good spot. Now, if we look at the stats for this in particular, let me find it real fast. Stats. So I think this is what I looked up, right? If you go like 6 Ghostly, 3 Inkshadow, Senna 3-star, right? It averages like a 3.9, right? This would be the board if I was just playing the vertical ghost like I showed you before. If I change this to 5 well, 5 Inkshadow is not that good. Let's say I just put it at the max cap, which is 7 Inkshadow and 4 Ghostly. It averages like a 2.4, right? And then if I change it to 6 Ghostly, 5 Inkshadow, because this is what I can play with the emblem, right? I can also play 6 Ghostly, 5 Inkshadow. It averages like a 2.8, and I think the other one was a little bit better, right? 2.8 versus 7 Ink, 4 Ghostly. Yeah, 2.4. So this is what I thought. This is going to be my final board. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play all the Inkshadow units, right? And then plus Shen and Alawi and Caitlyn, right? And I can fit this board on level 9. And I remember looking at the stats for this, and it's pretty good. And then Caitlyn and Alawi, right? This is what I was trying to say, right? 7 Inkshadow, 4 Ghostly. And this is my board, right? Instead of playing the useless Morgana and Kayn, I don't even have to play them. I could just play this. I can reroll all of these units. I can even reroll Volibear, help me hit Alawi. And I'll have an Udyr, which synergizes with the Shen. So it actually caps really high and it works out really nicely, right? That's my idea for this game now. It was Encounter Carousel. Let's go back for a second. This is what I mean by it's a little bit different than maybe what you've normally seen. Is this just like 4-cost champions? Yeah, it's just everybody gets a 4-cost. This is not very useful for me. But I do get a Kaisa, which I can just play on my board. So I'm down to just grab the Kaisa. I think that because I have Even Shroud, I decide to make Runans here. I think Runans is fine on Senna. It's not her ideal item, but it does make her like attack multiple units, and I think that's like good with Fury and Deathblade. So I decide to just go for it. I'm still quite a bit off of Shen. I'm holding this Annie just because that's what I just got right now. But because I have Even Shroud, I don't go for Last Whisper, so I think it's okay. It's an okay decision. Here I'm rolling a little bit because I want to collect a couple Shens. I don't just want to raw push levels. I am very strong, right? Mind you, like as you can see, I'm starting to creep up to being like strongest in the lobby. But I definitely want to hit Shen 3 before I go to level 9, right? If I don't hit Shen 3 before going to level 9, I might run into problems that I'm going to be too glassy, and I'll just lose a bunch of HP for no reason, right? So I want to keep up with what I'm doing here. Slow roll around 50. I'm using my free rerolls every turn. And I'm a little bit low econ, right? I'm still level 7. There's a lot of people like this guy. If you see him, he's like level 9 already. This guy's level 8, right? Holding a bunch of Gallios, right? Things are starting to get out of hand. Everybody's just hyper inflated because it's prismatic augments, 3 of them, right? So everybody's gonna have like some sort of way of generating a lot of econ or having themselves be in a better spot than they normally would. So the lobby is just in general a little bit more high roll, right? And that's something that's really important to note. Somebody already died, by the way. I'm 73 HP and somebody's dead. You know what I mean? Like, it's getting a bit out of hand. But, you know, we'll see what happens. It gets way worse in a bit. This game goes off the rails really fast. It's not because it's prismatic. It's because of encounters. You'll see what happens. I'll talk about it. Don't worry. I'm holding on to these Morganas in case I play the Ghostly variation, by the way. I could play 5 Inkshadow, 6 Ghostly. Remember, it's not, like, that much difference between the two of them. Hitting 7 Inkshadow is Udyr locked, right? In order to hit 7 Inkshadow, you need Udyr, which is a 5 cost. And there's a chance that I just don't find him. Here I'm playing against a sniper guy. He has 6 sniper in, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know if I think I can out DPS just because he has double Gwinsus, right? So as you can see, the Ghostly stacks get up and I just kill them. Even though my front line's not that strong, I don't have Shen 3. I just kind of win, which is pretty cool. There's this guy that's kind of scary. There's a guy with Ashe. As you can see, everybody's holding on to 4 costs already, which kind of sucks. I play reroll in this lobby. I think I showed my games for the past week, and in every game that I showed, the whole lobby is reroll. You know what I mean? Like, the thing with reroll that makes it strong is, like, if everybody is reroll in your lobby, then you also benefit because they grab the other units, right? So for example, if someone's like going Lux reroll, right? Yes, they'll contest a Lowy, but they're gonna buy a bunch of Jannas and a bunch of Luxes, so it'll be easier for me to find Sennas, Shens, and Aatroxes because those aren't units they're gonna hold on to. So it makes it easier for me to hit because they're removing them from the pool. Here, it's prismatic and the whole lobby is playing 4 costs. So everybody's just easily hitting their 4 costs because they're all not, like, there's 1 or 2 guys that are contesting each other, yes. But what I'm saying is it's making it harder for me to find my particular units. Yes, I high rolled on the Senna, but I should have Shen 3 by now, but I'm not even that close. I'm still 2 off, which kind of sucks. So I'm just running into like a situation now. Here I just try and make like the best Kaisa items I can. I know I already have Even Shroud, but in case my Even Shroud dies, I have Last Whisper now. And I'm just playing this Kaisa, and I'm going to try and just go to level 9. I kind of admitted here that I might not hit this Shen. So I'm just trying to go... I'm trying to tempo myself to the next level so that I can play towards a max cap of the 7 Inkshadow. With 7 Inkshadow, I'll get a bunch of items, and you also get damage reduction. So I should be able to fix my board a little bit. But if you look at it, right, this guy sent to 0. This guy's 50 gold. And he has 2 Canes, plus a Hui that he's duplicating the Cane. Level 9 already. This guy's holding on to an Ashe. And what happens? Guess what? Yorick appears. Guess what? After I push levels to level 8. And I am using my gold to level. And I've been re-rolling the game because I have Prismatic Augment. Now, Yorick appeared. So, rerolls cost 1 gold. Not only does that make my first augment significantly less valuable, right? Because I took a rolling augment, right? Getting an augment that makes everybody able to roll much more easily is not good for me. So I'm trying to roll here. You know what my fear is? There's a guy with like 5 Gallios, right? So now I have to hold on to Gallio because it's like I have to decide, like, am I going to win this game or not, right? So now I'm rolling on level 8 for Shen because it's like, well, the rerolls cost nothing. Here I can get a Volibear 3, right? I have a 3 Volibear shop. It's like, sure, why not? He'll help out the front line a little bit. Look at this guy, right? He's just sending it to 0. He's making 10. His board isn't particularly strong, by the way, but he has this Gwinsu Ashe, so the Ashe just does so much damage, right? And my front line isn't, like, I need a Shen 3 against this guy, right? Straight up. Because as you can see, my front line died. The Ashe stacked too much. I lose against him. This should be a winning matchup, right? Because he doesn't have like full damage Ashe. But look, he's holding on to a bunch of Ashes, right? Now, I'm probably going to scout this turn, right? Or at least 1 point this turn. I'm going to scout. And you're going to see everybody's holding on to 4 costs, right? All of a sudden now it's turning into a 4 cost lottery. So now I have to think, do I have to sell a unit? This guy has a duplicator Cane. This guy's going this, right? Like this guy, one guy's duplicating Canes, this guy's duplicating Gallios, right? So it's like I just sell both of them because it's like it's worse for me to hold units on bench because what's gonna happen is the other people are gonna hit, and then now because I'm level 8, I can't find my Shen, which just sucks, right? I'm kind of re-rolling now instead of going 9. I think I should have stopped rolling at a certain point, and I should just keep my econ to go 9. But the problem is we have this guy who's rolling for Ash. He has 6 Ashes now. You saw he just upgraded an Ash. That means he upgraded one on his bench, and he has a Hui that's duplicating the Ash, right? That's stacking up the duplicates. Everybody's just rolling to 0 now because of this Yorick augment, and that's why it's like it's really hard for me to like go level 9, right? It's like if I need to keep up with the lobby, I need to hit this Shen 3 so I don't lose against some random people because somebody's gonna hit something crazy, right? It's almost guaranteed because everybody's holding 4 costs on their bench and everybody's playing 4 costs. One of them's gonna hit. I cannot deny everybody. And my board, I'm not playing around a 4 cost. The only 4 cost I can try and hit is Kaisa, right? But getting a Kaisa 3 won't help me that much because Kaisa isn't like my main carry, right? So this guy, he's holding a bunch of Canes. This guy's holding a bunch of Gallios. This guy's holding a bunch of fucking Ashes, right? It doesn't look like it's that bad, but you have to understand it's 1 gold to reroll. So out of nowhere, all of these guys can just hit everything. I find an Udyr now. So now I actually have the reason to go level 9. So I'm checking my EXP and I'm saying, you know, I really want to find this Shen, but the odds for it are so low on level 8 and nobody's rerolling 2 costs, right? So because nobody's rerolling 2 costs, like, you know, I did roll a lot, right? I rolled like 50 gold on level 8. I should still be able to find 1 Shen, right? It's not like that absurd. But I'm just not hitting anything, right? I'm also not hitting that many Kaisas. I know I skipped 1 or 2 Kaisas here and there. Like I skipped a couple. This guy looks like he sold his Canes now. He probably saw me holding them and sold them. So now I'm starting to sell my Canes. But basically, the more 4 costs that you hold on bench, the more that are removed from the pool. And this was the problem that happened a while ago that made it so that they had to make a bunch of nerfs because people kept hitting 3-star 4 costs, right? We just happened across it in this game because it's Yorick encounter and everybody had a bunch of gold and they're saving up gold. This guy's just holding every 4 cost as well. He's so strong because that's the what's it called? This is the Ash player, right? So this guy, he has 6 Gallios. This guy no longer looks like he's going for Kane. This guy he's 1 off of Ash, right? I didn't see an Ash, right? Maybe I did. Like I wasn't paying full attention, but he's 1 turn off of Ash 3. He just hit. Right? When we checked him a couple turns ago, he was only 10 gold. But that's the thing. When it's 1 gold to reroll, 10 gold is 10 shops. Right? He has Hui Duplicator that's been stacking. And guess what? Next turn, he's Ash 3. He's guaranteed Ash 3. Right? I did not see enough Kaisas to out-get this Ash. Right? I didn't see any Ashes either. Right? I even tried rolling. That's why I was rolling. I was rolling for everything. Maybe I skipped an Ash. There is a chance I skipped an Ash. The problem is, he has the Hui Duplicate. So even if I found the Ash, it's very difficult for me, right? Because he's gonna duplicate 1 Ash, and then even if I find 1 Ash and he has like this many Ashes, he already has so many, right? As you can see, now that I have Shen 3, I just beat him. But Yorick encounter, Yippee, Yorick encounter, he has Ash 3, right? At this point, I'm just playing for second, basically, right? I can still beat this guy, mind you. Even with Ash 3, I'm confident that if I have Udyr 2, 7 Inkshadow, I think I can beat him. Right, I know that sounds like copium. You'll see later. I'm pretty sure the fights are very close when I have Udyr 1. So I'm not too concerned about this guy hitting. The people that I was more concerned about hitting were the guys over here, right? Because the thing is, even without Yorick encounter, the Ash player was very strong. Like this guy was very strong, right? So it was always between me and him for first/second. If the reason I was holding Canes and Gallios was number 1 because I found them. Number 2, if any of these guys hit, that's how I get scammed out of placements, right? Like if I can beat this guy even if he hits Ash 3 because it's it's a decent matchup for me. It's not like the best matchup, but it's an okay matchup, right? But these guys, like look, this guy I think now hit Kane 3. Yeah, see Kane 3. This guy can scam me, right? So I wanted to make sure that I had a lot of HP to work with. Because the Ash player will probably kill this guy, right? These two will fight, and then if I have more HP, I'll live longer. So I can scam out my second and just play for placement. But as you can see here, now I'm 7 Inkshadow. I got a bunch of Inkshadow items. Tattoo of Toxin, Kaisa's best item, right? It's pretty much Kaisa's best item. I have extra frontline items, Tattoo of Force for Udyr, as well as Tattoo of Protection. And I also get less damage on my Inkshadow units, which is really nice. If I can get a TG for Volibear, I'd be in a really good spot as well. But as you can see, like, you know, this guy's kind of scary, but I'm not too worried about it. This guy, let him hit, he's going to die anyways to one of the Ash player probably. But yeah, this was a very normal, like, ish game. You know, I was just playing for top 4. I kind of high rolled a little bit. I felt like I was playing good. And then Yorick encounter happened. Now, teachable moments, what could I have done differently with this Yorick encounter, right? Obviously, we're going to try our best. We can't just bitch. It's not just all luck, blah, 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 whatever. I could have gone for Kaisa 3. I don't know if I skipped an Ash. I don't want to redo the VOD. If I skipped an Ash, so be it. I didn't want to hold too many 4 costs, because let's say I tried to go for Kaisa 3. If I hold a bunch of Kaisas, I make it easier for everybody else to hit, right? The more 4 costs that I hold, the easier it is for that guy to hit. That's why eventually I sold my Galio and I sold my Kane, right? Because I was holding them because it was really scary that this guy might outplace me. But now that they have such little HP between, like, all of them, like, they basically are way lower HP than me, I feel confident that even if this guy hits Kane 3, I'll win off of the placements, right? I don't think the Kane 3 board is going to beat the Ash board, straight up. So I'm thinking to myself, I'll probably be okay here. In terms of items, Unending Despair is okay on Alawi. Alawi makes a shield, so it works really well on her. So of those items, that's the best item I could take. So I put on Alawi. Alawi's going to be like my duplicate Shen. Inkshadow +1 is really good as a +1 in the Ghostly board because it gives them reduced damage. So it kind of works like a really, really strong item, right? It's like an item that just gives them 14% reduced damage. If you look at the stats, Inkshadow +1 is one of Shen's best items. I was a little bit slow, so I didn't get my Udyr 2 on board. But watch this, right? This is actually a really embarrassing fight. This guy's now going for Annie 3, by the way. Like, I can't deny everything, right? It is what it is. If I beat him, I beat him. If I don't, I don't. But he's 1 off Annie. He's 2 off Annie 3 in 2 turns, which is fine. I can try and roll for it. But look at this. I'm really embarrassed here because I think if I upgraded my Udyr faster, I might have beat this guy, right? My Ghostly procs are on the Ash. If I had my Udyr on the opposite side and I stunned the Ash with an Udyr 2, I'm pretty sure I beat that guy, right? But anyways, so 1v1 with me, and guess what? Annie's on his side. So now in 2 turns, he has Annie 3 guaranteed. I can't even roll for it. I can't even, like, deny it. You know what I mean? It's just over. Like, I can't do anything. Now, beating an Ash 3, that's like one thing. I think I can beat the Ash 3. There's no way I'm beating Annie 3 as well. You know what I mean? And there's an Annie in my shop, right? Do I buy it? No, he has it anyway in 2 turns. There's no reason for me to hold it to make econ, right? Am I going to kill this guy in 2 turns? No, he's 50 HP with an Ash 3, right? Am I going to win this one? No. I just take, I know Declaw isn't that good. Was there a better Udyr item that I could have taken here? Probably Adaptive Helm. It was probably Adaptive Helm here instead of Declaw. I was just thinking of like health regen, but Ash does mostly physical damage. At least I should have taken, instead of Declaw, I should have taken, what's it called? Adaptive Helm. But that's a mistake. Yeah, my bad. I know what everybody's thinking. You know, you can easily just go for Kaisa 3. I couldn't. At the time that everybody was rolling, I had like 0 Kaisas. I think it would have been more of a grief for me to try to go for Kaisa 3, because even if I hit Kaisa 3, I don't think my Kaisa 3 is going to out DPS this Ash, and God forbid I let somebody else hit, right? I don't care if one person hits a 3-star. This is fine. Like, I'll take a second, right? If Yorick didn't appear, I probably would have gotten second anyways because I was really behind on Shen's, right? But as you can see here, my Udyr healing, soaking up a bunch of damage. It's very close. As you can see, it's a lot closer than before. My Shen, just 1 or 2 more auto casts, right? It's half HP. It's very close. It's Gunblade, so it's really hard to kill it in the last kill. Maybe if I had a Laui 3, I can beat it, but it doesn't matter now because they're going to have Annie 3, right? And this is what I was trying to say before. It's like, if I held on to Kaisas and this guy hit Annie 3 earlier, it's like the same difference. I think no matter what, because of this Yorick encounter, unless you're playing around 4 cost, because I invested so much gold early game. Remember early game, I was low gold for much of the game, because I wasn't playing around 4 cost and having a bunch of gold on level 8 to play. I was never in a good spot to beat this guy out, to win out against this guy, right? I don't even think his board is particularly strong. I think he just has Exalted in. Like, his board looks like a ragtag ass board, right? Like, does he even have 4 sniper? I'm pretty sure he's like 2 sniper. Like, I'm almost certain that I beat this guy 100% of the time if Yorick didn't appear. Like, straight up. Like, he doesn't have the board to beat me if Yorick didn't appear. But that's fine. Whatever. We'll take it, right? Allow E3 just for the shits, but I don't think it's gonna matter. This Annie 3 was like the final nail in the coffin. But like, it's not even a particularly amazing Ash board is what I'm trying to say, right? He kind of just went for, this guy played really well because he was playing around 4 cost and Yorick appeared, so he just kind of, I think he had the Annie because he was just playing whatever frontline unit you can, right? He was playing the game really well because he was contested Ash, right? One of the Ash players just died instantly and they were 6 sniper. But I'm pretty sure this guy, he had like, he wasn't in like the most amazing spot of the game, but because Yorick appeared, he just rerolled for Ash and Annie, and everybody was holding 4 costs, right? That guy with the Galio didn't hit. That guy with the Kane, it didn't matter that he hit Kane. But just because everybody was playing around 4 costs and everybody was holding a bunch of 4 costs on their bench, even the Kane guy was holding a bunch of Orns, right? It just thinned out the pool so much that this guy just hit the Ash with, and then you just went out, right? I could have maybe played it better. Like, the only regret I have is maybe like right here. This is what I should have done, right? I'm gonna lose this fight. If I really wanted to go for first, I was kind of done with the game by now, so I didn't want to like go through the effort of this. But what I should have done here is I'm prismatic ticket with Yorick encounter, right? So I'm gonna get like a lot of extra rerolls. I should have gone for a 3-star legendary. That was my out to win this game, right? My out to win this game with Yorick encounter was this turn. The only way I can beat this board was I go for Udyr 3, right? I literally should have sold my entire board, right? My board is very expensive. Let me just stop this, right? What I should have done is I should have sold everything and just roll for Udyr 3, right? Kaisa 3 won't win me that game, but Udyr 3 will. I should have sold my whole board and roll for Udyr 3. It's a very slim chance of winning, but if I was trying to maximize, like if I was really dedicated, like I wanted to get a first this game, I was like, I'm gonna get a first, right? Like this is 10 gold. Sorry, this is like 20 gold, 20 gold, 10 gold, 10 gold, 10 gold, right? Or more, a little bit more, right? 3 gold, right? I would have had like 50 to 60 gold to roll for, which is 60, like 120 shops approximately, minus how much gold is it to buy a 5 costs? It's would be 9 times 5. Actually, it would be 6 times 5, so 30 gold. So I had 90 gold to work with. Effectively 90 shops. Probably closer to 80 shops. Could I see it in 80 shops? 10% odds? Maybe. Right? Isn't the odds like 100 shops I can probably hit it? Or I'm good to hit it? Something like that. But I should have gone for that. Something like that. But anyways, hopefully this was an enjoyable video. I had a lot of fun playing the game, right? Obviously, sometimes encounters show up. I basically just committed to playing for second place, and I got second place. So I did exactly what I could have done. I could have done a little bit better. Maybe I could have played for first by playing around my board a little bit differently. But I think it was all very risky for me to do. And I think I kind of took the guaranteed second route, and it kind of worked out. So hopefully this was a fun video. As you can see, Senna Shen reroll up until the game went kind of crazy. It was keeping up. It's a good top 4-able board. And then this was like a Inkshadow variation that you can try out if you have an Inkshadow +1. Just make sure that your Inkshadow items actually make sense and are good for your board, and you should be fine. Anyways, hope that was enjoyable, and I'll see you guys around.